when we finally got to the island and we realized the only clothes we were going to have for potentially 39 days were what we were wearing, it was quite a shock. I mean, luckily for a lot of the guys, I mean, I had socks, pants, underwear, undershirt, and a shirt. So I mean, I had, you know, as it turned out, I made my pants into shorts, and I had my underwear that was a swimsuit. I gave my undershirt away, but I also had a shirt. But the girls that were wearing, some didn't have bras on, some had thongs on, others just had skirts or dresses on. I mean, they were hurting pretty bad. And it got a little bit chilly at night, and so some of the girls without much cover were definitely cold. But I don't know. I adapted really quickly to just the same pair of clothes every day, and it got to the point towards the end, like I didn't even care if we got the original clothes that we had brought, but other people were kind of bitching the whole time about it. I mean, the nature of the game is deception. I mean, everyone does it. People are lying to each other, and you always have to have your guard up. And I did have my guard up, but you, at some point, you do have to trust people to some degree or another, and I did. I'm pretty sure John. I mean, John was in a position last night where he could go with my alliance or the other alliance, the strong or the weak, and John's weak physically, and I expressed my concern to Sean about it, saying if I were John, I would vote one of us off because he can right now. He couldn't compete in a million years against any of us in an individual challenge. And so, I mean, if I were John, I would have done it. But John did look me in the eyes saying, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. I always had my concerns, but you can only do so much. And Tribal's Council is the only time in the game when you know if someone's telling the truth. You never know up until that point. So in terms of the competitions with the other tribe, with the Morgan tribe and the implications down the road, in my opinion, if you play a fair game and you go all out and you don't talk smack and you don't rub it in their faces, anyone's going to respect that out of a good competitor. So, you know, I tried to play fair and I tried to win. And other people talk smack here and there, and I think down the road it'll hurt them because they're going to have enemies in that tribe that they cannot win over. But you know, it's good, clean fun. So I respect anyone that goes out and gives it their all, and I expect others to do the same. I knew that there were going to be a lot of challenges for me to face throughout the game, and there were going to be some key turning points. And if we would have gotten Chris out in this vote and gotten another weak person out in the next vote, then I think I had a pretty good strategy to get me into the top 5. And I'm pretty sure I could have. And to be honest, I think people realized that if I got far enough and I got to individual immunities, it was going to be really, really hard to stop me because I don't give up at anything. And so, yeah, I mean, people realize that. I was kind of trying to hide it, but I didn't do a very good job. But, you know, I think I easily could have been top 5 had a couple things gone differently. Looking back and after going through tribal council and getting voted off, you know, you realize there are snakes in the grass, and you know going into it there's going to be. It's just a matter of how many and who. And the earlier in the game, the harder it is to tell because people's true motivations don't necessarily come out. And I mean, I was planning on becoming more and more of a snake as the game went on and as you needed to be. And I'm sure a lot of other people were also. The game of Survivor on the surface seems, oh, it's such a neat game, it'd be fun. But until you really get down and evaluate it, and until you actually get in a position where you're playing and you're making decisions, it's hard to understand how complicated it is. And every single action that you do, and every single decision you make, and every single thing you say could come back to haunt you. And it's the implications, it's a ripple effect. So you could do one thing that affects one other person, they tell someone else, and it continues on and on. So it's a very complicated game, and that's the hardest thing about it. And that's why I can't go back and say, well, I would have changed this one thing, because you know, there's thousands of things that would have been changed after that. You don't see everything that goes on a 24-hour basis, and it's a 24-hour game, 7 days a week for 39 days. And it's hard, and unless you've actually been in the situation and played it, you will never know exactly what it's like.